As we say hello one more time here from the World Center of Racing, Daytona International Raceway for the start of Duel 2 here for the iSNF Cup Series to start season number 12. The even number cars coming tonight, technically. All the even cars here tonight here for the iSNF Cup Series. Hello, my name once again is Christian Olgado, your lead producer and commentator for Duel 2 here to start off season number 12 here from the World Center of Racing. Qualifying underway here, getting ready to start. A little bit of a delayed start tonight, as obviously we went back to back here from Duel 1 to Duel 2. We get ready to get on track here and take a look at some of your drivers here, getting ready to set laps here. Thomas Flynn in the number 24, last season's champion. Coming back here to Hendrick Motorsports here in this number 24 Exalta Flames machine. He sets his sights here. Charlotte, North Carolina native. One win in his iSNF career, and it came from his home track here in Charlotte for the Coke 600. Well, technically, the Coke 350, I believe, is what it was, as they had to shorten that race due to participation in activities, as they wanted to do that. You see Thomas out here on track here. Go ahead and look at his Delta here. Going into here, you see, once again, Thomas using that fourth gear, not jumping up to fifth yet. His first time lap here in this 24 machine. You're on the Chevrolet on board here, cutting the apron. Across the stripe here. Be 50.8582. Good enough for your pull right now. I expect to see some drivers going to dethrone that, though. I know we got some good qualifiers here in Duel number 2. See him pull that car off track here. Chris Otto on track here. We'll go ahead and take a look at Rhea Ferris. The boss lady herself here in the 66. The Garage 66 machine here. This quick time machine. Driven by Chandler Smith, I believe, in the Daytona 500. Your outlap coming to the green here. Rhea here. 223 starts here. Obviously, I have to call her a founding member here. She owns the league. She made iSNF. Nothing would be here without Rhea putting the foundations down for this league, and it's so unique. You don't see a lot of series that put so much time and effort into the realism of the cars and the schemes and the teams and everything else like Rhea has. Obviously, I've seen some other leagues who do run IRL's cars and stuff, like Winstel, I believe, does it with the Gen 4 series as they work their way up through the years and stuff like that. But Rhea has been out here grinding it out every season, making sure that everybody has an assigned car. Everybody, all the cars are unique and realistic and are counterparts of what you see in real life, right? And you know, I think a lot of people take it for granted all the time and effort she puts into doing this. But see Rhea right now, currently P10. Why Roberts stopped up to the top of the board there, 50.2525. He takes over the 12 machine for Cody Meadows. Obviously, Wyatt Roberts was put in the development system for Team Penske this last season as he went in and raced part-time in the 21, that Wood Brothers Ford Mustang. He jumps up into a full-time position here, driving the 12 as Cody Meadows took a step away from Team Penske as we saw him in that first duel, running the 9 machine for Hendrick Motorsports. You see Justin Barkley in the 54. This was what I believe this is Frank DeAngelis's full-time car, but they put Justin in that machine. You see him, he qualifies P2 there in that car. Might have lost our timing and scoring here real quick. We'll jump into the sim here and grab another driver. Here's the 10 machine. Out on track. I'm not sure if who's in the 10 this season. Obviously, we saw Jimmy Johnson piloting this number 10 colleague racing machine last season. Look again to here and see. Going to be Eric Jorgensen in the 10 machine. We saw him in the 16 last year. He's going to jump ship to the 10. Yeah, 36 starts. 58-year-old from Louisville, Kentucky. Jumping in here in the 10 machine. Couple drivers electing to probably not set a lap time here. Like Frank DeAngelis in the machine, not going to set a lap time. Terrence Preston in the 88. Brian Treadwell, Nick Miller. Trying not to set a lap time. You see still 48. Chris Otto, another Hendrick Motorsports entry here. Going to be in Duel 2. That 48 machine ran by Joey Maines last season. Obviously, Joey taking a step back from full-time racing will co-pilot the number 40 Junior Motorsports machine with Isaac Wilson. So that allowed the 48 to be opened up for Chris Otto. Obviously, Chris Otto drove the 9 last year. That will be piloted by Cody Meadows. So a lot of jumping around here. Later in the race here, you see Eric down pit road here. You see Chris Otto do a stop here as he completes his qualifying run. You continue to see the sights and sound here from the World Center of Racing. Just over 2 minutes left in qualifying. And I don't expect to see anybody else here on track gonna set any lap times. So just underneath 2 minutes left in qualifying. Nobody else on track here for tonight's race. So it looks like go ahead and take a look at your unofficial results here from qualifying. We don't usually get to do this a lot here, but we look at Wyatt Roberts. Fastest in qualifying. Now we'll lock him into the front row and into the Daytona 500 for next week. So you see Wyatt Roberts top of the boards there with that 50.252. You see Justin Barkley, Chris Otto, Chris Van Maastricht, Thomas Flynn, your top 5 here after qualifying. James Bowles, Timothy Cook, Eric Jorgensen, and Rhea Ferris. Going to be your top 10. And I think further back here, no one else decided to set a lap. Larry Fairman back there in P11. Then you see Frank DeAngelis, Terrence Preston, Brian Treadwell, Nick Miller. The rest of the field here, you see Frank on back, did not decide to set a lap time. And obviously it says 23:11, but I guess there was a little bit of confusion with the numbers being placed tonight. Obviously, Frank is supposed to be in the 54. 54 was given to Justin Barkley, so they decided to put Frank in the 20 for tonight's race. As I guess I'm very unsure of how that all went to be, but about qualifying getting wrapped and underway here. We're ready to go 60 laps here for duel number 2. We get ready to go trackside here. We'll be resetting our paints and everything else here before we get down the trackside here, making sure everything looks good and good and ready to go here for you fans at home for 60 laps here for duel number 2. We get ready to set and go green here from the World Center of Racing. Obviously, we saw, I wouldn't say a snooze fest last session, but obviously something that we didn't really want to see happen. We just saw just kind of, unfortunately, some single file racing. We're working with the graphics department here in the background here, trying to make sure everything's good for you fans at home. But we'll get ready to go. 60 laps here from the World Center Racing. You already see the cars starting to ramp up here as we get ready to get your starting lineup here, presented by High Velocity TV. Look at your starting grid. Wyatt Roberts in the 12 will be your pole sitter here for duel number 2. Locks himself into the front row for the 500. Alongside him, the 54, Justin Barkley. The Chris Otto back there in P3 alongside Chris Van Mastrick. Thomas Flynn in the 24. And James Bowles in the 23. Remember we talked about odds in the first duel, evens in the second duel. James Bowles had a little bit of a provisional, a little bit of a get out of jail free card. He gets the run here in duel number 2, even though he is in an odd number car. He starts back there in P6. You see back there Timothy Cook. I believe. Yeah, Timothy Cook in the 22 alongside Eugene Thorne back there in P8. Eric Jorgensen and Rhea Ferris round out your top 10. Look back here, Larry Fairman, Nick Miller, Frank DeAngelis, Terrence Preston, Brian Treadwell round out the rest of the field here. Oh. Take a look at your race weather for tonight's race. 84-degree air temperature, 89-degree track temp, partly cloudy. The 80% humidity and little to no wind tonight here from the virtual Daytona International Speedway. 60 laps once again here for duel number 2, just like we saw in duel number 1. 15 cars this time show up here for duel number 2, so it's going to be interesting to see. And are these guys going to do something different? We talked to Frank in the booth saying that he doesn't care about the fuel saving. He wants to go out there and he wants to do something a little bit different here. But we'll hand the race back over to Barney, the flagman, as we get ready to go green here for duel number 2. On the backstretch for the first time. Already a single foul train there as Wyatt Roberts leads us back into 3 and 4. Out from the 48 of Chris Otto. You see that another Hendrick Chevrolet back there in the 24. Last season's champion Thomas Flynn back there in the 24. He's going to round out that top 3. Coming back to the line, Team Penske leads the way here to start duel number 2. Everybody's still single file for now. Gonna mind their P's and Q's. You see some side-by-side action further in the back, and guess who that is? Frank DeAngelis in the number 20 machine. He talked about it. He wasn't willing to sit in the back there and just put around. If he needed to, he said he was gonna get together with some guys there and get out in front. Try to make something happen. I want to see early here. Frank being aggressive to jump up to the top. He's got help from the 23 of Bulls. The 78 of Treadwell, and it looks like the 66 of Rhea Ferris up there on the top side. But unfortunately, no help, no really momentum being generated from that top side quite yet. Bulls all over the back end of the 20, though, trying to make something happen. And on board with James Bulls here in the Toyota on board. Get that top side starting to generate some momentum. 20 starting to catch up here, side by side with the 22 there of Timothy Cook. Timothy Cook takes over at 22 for Team Penske after, you know, that 22 being piloted for a couple of seasons by Justin Johnson. He brought a lot of success to that 22 machine. But remember, you saw the 11, you saw the 22 jump over the Toyota side, and you saw the 12 of Cody Meadows. He jumps over the Chevrolet side of things. So almost a whole completely new rebrand here for Team Penske. The only person who's really stuck around there is the 2 of Mark Gonzalez, who we don't see in the duels. And that 12, technically in the Wood Brothers 21, he jumps up to a full-time position here for Team Penske. Wyatt Roberts continues to lead here from Daytona. And a starkly different contrast here from Duel 1 to Duel 2. Duel 1, we saw everybody get single file and just start the fuel saves very, very severely from the very start of the race here. This time in Duel 2, everybody being a little bit more racy. Everybody trying to get up towards the front and actually starting to race here at the start of this second duel. And I love to see it. I really do. I mean, I'm not going to lie, Duel 1 was kind of a snooze fest, and we don't want to see that up here in the booth. We want to see fun, exciting racing. We want to see people going for it there at the end. Obviously, we saw that within the last 5 laps, but obviously, we want to see some good, hard racing. Lap to lap, green the checkered here in the second stage here. Frank D'Angelo is trying to work that top side, though. Kind of gotten stuck around this kind of 4th to 5th place spot here. So trying to battle this 22 machine of Timothy Cook there for the spot there. Rhea Ferris lined up behind her car, technically. I mean, she owns Team Penske. Racing part-time in the 66 here for Garage 66. That unsponsored white number 66 there, just trying to make the field. Do the same thing with the 78 of Brian Treadwell. Finding a last second sponsor. There's a little bit of a squirrely push there to the 20. That's going to lose a lot of momentum. Maria Ferris up the track. Contact with Frank D'Angelis there. That top side went from battling it out for P5 to starting to lose some momentum there. Here comes the 88 of Terrence Preston. I'm going to try to get side by side with the 20 here. At top side, the momentum just died. Just a little bit of a squirrely push there, and it just completely killed the momentum. I'm going to take a couple more laps to get that momentum wound back up there to try to make a challenge there to the bottom side. That's the thing, though, is I think this bottom is content just riding where they are. The 12's been leading the whole race here. And Chris Otto and Thomas Flynn have been content. Just sitting back there in second and third. Obviously, you see the 22, that another Penske Ford. It's riding back there in P4, and then another Lions car of the 66er Ferris back there up to P5. Rhea up 5 spots from where she started back in 10th place. So Rhea doing a really good job positioning herself to get herself a good dual finishing position. Obviously, a lot to go here. We're gonna have some potential green flag pit stops if we don't get any cautions through this second duel, and that's gonna be the test of who can stay up front, who can be mistake-free here coming in and out of pit road. We saw Scott Trusty, right? He was up in front. He was leading some laps there early in Duel 1 and made some mistakes coming down pit road. Ended up hooking the 35 up the track there during the first green flag pit stall. Stop, unfortunately, destroying the 35's, dual race there. And then we saw the second time he came down pit road, completely destroyed his car. Had to limp it down pit road, get the tires back on. But the time he got out of pit road, nowhere to be found was the rest of the pack. Rhea can, even if she has to be a little bit conservative here, Rhea just needs to worry about getting that car, being conservative down pit road. Obviously, don't lose the pack here being that passive in pit road, but just don't wreck the car and you'll be in a good spot here sitting in the pack. Obviously, you have your Team Penske teammates there. If need be, would probably be willing to come back and grab you if need be and try to get you back up to the lead pack. But you see right now, Team Penske, I would say, obviously the 66 is technically not aligned with Penske in real life, but you know those Penske guys are going to be working with Riaz. You know, that's the boss man right there in Rhea Ferris. So, you know, 3 of the top 5, all really kind of Team Penske here. Further back, Frank D'Angelo's got back in line there. He'll be sitting back there in P6 right behind Rhea, trying to make the top work. And honestly, I'm not going to say I don't blame Frank, but I think him, you know, kind of shouting his plan there in the broadcast for Duel 1 kind of was the demise of his own, right? Saying like, hey, I'm not going to fuel save. I'm going to push. I think that kind of told the rest of the field, okay, well, if he's going to push, we all have to push. And then obviously we know we have to pit. Probably we'll have to pit 2 times here. Might as well just push, you know, go 25 and 25, right? If that's what the fuel looks like. Just pit twice, right? And then you'll have like what even if it is, you know, maybe 22, 23 laps, you know, have a 10 to 15 lap shootout there at the end after that second pit stop. Here comes Frank to the top again. Help from the 23, help from the 42. 3 Toyotas lined up on the top side, trying to get this lane moving. Frank on the top side, still trying to make this work. Back up, do around it where that 22 was. We'll jump back in line and try to build some momentum. As soon as James gets back to him, might try to jump back out of line. No, I think he's going to sit to the bottom for a little bit here and try to build a run. Rhea Ferris up the track, almost contact with the 23. Knows Rhea and the 23 being side by side is almost someone those cars down, being side by side. You saw Frank actually get out a little bit there. You see Rhea get to the back end of stuff. Still, that bottom line has just been so dominant this for basically the first quarter of this race. Why Roberts? He's led every lap. In a dominant fashion here for the 12 machine. Still single file for kind of the first 3 rows here. Here comes James Bowles. He wants to try the top side. Here comes the Hardy's machine up here, trying to make a battle here. Going to be side by side. This Toyota teammate Frank D'Angelo's here for P5. Comes Frank to the top. Needs to get that 23 locked back in here. Big shove right here. And a little bit of contact at the back of the 20. In these next ones, you can push in the corners here. You see James at the back of the 20 of D'Angelis. Yeah, big run here. This is the closest that Frank spin to the front here, side by side with Thomas Flynn. The P3 position. Ben's being really aggressive with the shoves here. Got to worry about those temps, though, if you're that number 23 machine. I think what Frank's doing is he's trying to keep that 23 locked back in. He's dragging the brake a little bit to kind of line back up here. If I'm Frank, I understand what he's doing, but I don't think he needs to do that. He's got the 78 who's giving pretty decent shoves to the 23 here. And when you're dragging the brake, I feel like it's just almost breaking the momentum a little bit on that top side, if that is the case. Frank just needs to go full bore and allow that 23 to just continue to shove him out, right? As long as they're, side drafting pretty well, I think that shouldn't be an issue in this top side to link up here. But if he starts to continue to drag the brake to get the 23 locked back in, that's when you start to see the issue. Here comes the 42 up the track here. Nick Miller. He jumps up here to the top side there. Another Toyota. So now it's 3 Toyotas lined up there on the top. Interesting enough, I'm interested to see, is Nick in a VC with these guys at all? Trying to work together. Yes, he is. And here he comes, Nick Miller. This is the best of top has looked. Obviously, Frank is one of the better pushers that I've, raced with. So not surprised to see him be able to really hyper jump this top side. And look at that, Nick Miller already back to the race lead, jumping in front of the 12 of Wyatt Roberts. He's going to drop down to the bottom. Frank trying to not get an air grease there up to the outside wall there. And Frank not going to be able to get clear here through 3 and 4, and it's a good shove by the 23. See if we can get Frank clear here. It's lap car waiting in the wings there. That's Eugene Thorne in the Ford machine. See Frank up the track there, trying to get the draft, but the 23, he jumps down and behind. He kind of leaves the 20 here. And now this top side is completely dead. See, Brian Treadwell, he also leaves that 20 machine. Here comes the 54. Justin Barkley, he's going to work with Frank. And I don't know why the 23 would do that. The Toyotas had a really good thing going right there. And the 23 just kind of leaves him out to dry there. I mean, obviously he's going to get the race lead, but I really broke up the momentum for the Toyotas there. I would have tried to get you guys all clear before you wanted to try to do that, but here comes the 42. Nick Miller, help from Frank DeAngelis once again. Top starting to surge here. Help from Justin Barkley, that third car in line there. And you see the top side, the top 3 basically tandeming. And I think all 3 of those will get clear there. So now it's going to be Toyota 1, 2, 3, 4. See if the 10 can get clear. Jorgensen trying to get clear, not going to make it happen. So it's going to be quite literally Toyota 1, 2, 3, 4 here on lap number 20. Nick Miller, Frank DeAngelis, Justin Barkley, James Bowles in that 23XI machine. All 1, 2, 3, 4. These Toyotas have been really good this second duel trying to work together. Obviously, we had, the other 2 Toyotas, the 11 and the 19, who worked together. Sartaj Maan got the dual one in the first duel in that number 19 machine. The Toyota's doing probably the best job working with each other to get themselves to the front. Obviously, Wyatt Roberts was doing a good job holding on to the race lead, but I think he's being patient right now. He's got his Penske 22 teammate right there behind him with Timothy Cook. And then obviously Rhea Ferris in the 66 right there. So there's kind of a Penske trio back here as well. And you look further behind here, obviously Eugene Thorne a lap down, but you see further back here, the front row guys all lined up there. The 38, the 34, and the 4 machine all lined up in the back there. And those guys are also aligned with Team Penske, right? So you might see those guys try to jump up and out of line here later in the race if they can get going and put together there with Team Penske. I mean, it's going to be 6 v everybody here later on in the race if they can get stuff going. Here comes the Chevys. Chris Otto on the 48, help from the 24 Flynn, help from the 10. I think, surprisingly, this is probably the worst duel for these Chevys that is possible here. Not a lot of Chevys here in this duel. Yeah, you see now 5. 5 Chevys. Actually, the Toyotas only have, what, 4? You see all the Fords here tonight. Here, 6 Fords. 6 Fords, 5 Chevys, 4 Toyotas here in duel number 2. So here comes the Toyotas down pit road. On lap number 22, the 42. All these guys black flags. All 4 Toyotas black flagged, speeding in the pits. That is not what you wanted to see. Justin Barkley, James Bulls, Nick Miller, and Frank DeAngelis, all black flags. That's probably already race ending there, because that's going to be a 40-second hold. They're going to need something. They're going to need a miracle. The 11th on back down pit road. Now, if you're these Fords, if you're the Chevys, do you capitalize here? Here comes one Chevy down pit road. That's the 78 for Treadwell. He'll come down with the 88 of Preston. It's Treadwell. Does not speed, but locks up the tires. So now it's a 6-car pack here. 3 Chevys, 3 Fords. Front row has lost the back end of this pack. I'm front row now. Obviously, we know the 4 a lap down, but these guys have to pit now. These guys have to pit now. They want a chance to get back up here. See if they do. Here comes all 3 front row Fords. Here comes everybody else down pit road, actually. The 66 Uriah Ferris. In the grass, that might be a black flag. Uriah Ferris, black flag. We see the 12 of Wyatt Roberts, a black flag. Everybody having issues coming out pit road here. That's going to leave the 2 Team Hendrick Chevrolets out on track. These guys have yet to come down pit road yet. Timothy Cook did not come down as well. Going to try to latch back on the potentially the late draft of these guys here. I think they will. Now, if you're these 2 Hendrick Chevys, you pit now. Here they come. Timothy Cook's going to have an amazing entrance here. Try to keep up with these Hendrick Chevys here. And Cook. I don't see any black flags for these guys. An entry for these front 3. So coming down pit road here. I don't imagine seeing any tires put on these cars here. If all fails here, Eric Jorgensen will be the provisional leader here. Treadwell and Preston, better exit. But unfortunately, I don't think they're going to be even close to the top 3 here. There's a little 2-car pack there. Those are the Toyotas who went a lap down. Unfortunately, Chris Otto, he's got no help. Thomas Flynn in the 22 of Cook. They got out relatively close together here. Gonna be the first 2, but you look further back. 6, I would say about 4 seconds back. It's the 78 and the 88. See if they could pick up the 10 here of Jorgensen. That'll be a huge help. And Otto by himself. He'll slowly get ran back down by the 2nd and 3rd. This is a huge opportunity for Treadwell, Preston, Jorgensen. If they can get linked up here, start the tandem to get back up to the front. These guys are not put together at all. These guys are nowhere close. They're not making speed here. You know, with the gap in between these guys. You guys got to get going here. So Flynn and Cook gonna catch the back end of this 48 here. Coming into 3 and 4. See the speed difference here. Look at the speed difference. Lynn's going to back off here. He's going to push the 48. I don't know if that was the best idea, honestly. Now you have to slow down to the 48. That's going to allow the second pack here to keep this momentum building up here. Granted, they're about 2.5 seconds back. Look back off the nose here of the 78. See them up the road there. They starting to actually, that front pack's starting to pull away, actually. You look back, and this is why. Look, none of these guys are trying to push. Terrence is not to the back end of the 78. That 10 of Jorgensen is not in the back of the 88. Trying to give him the momentum to start to go, right? These guys are just borderline just riding around, and they're just going to continue to lose time. They want to continue the race like this. These guys have to get more, compacted here. They want a chance to go catch the race leaders. Look further back here, Larry Fairman. Help with his teammate there in the 4, John Hopley. Or Eugene Thorne, my apologies. He's a lap down, a 2-car tango there. And back here, these are all the penalty cars. Wyatt Roberts, the 42. Nick Miller, Frank DeAngelis back here. These guys are almost 3/4 of a lap down here. These guys are needed a caution. They want to try at doing anything here in this duel. Further up front here, it's going to be a 3-car pack here. 2 Hendrick Chevys and 1 Team Penske Ford. Timothy Cook, your top 3. Like Rhea Ferris is called in tonight here. He is parked at 66 there. Obviously locked in the race there. She'll start back there in P30. Around there. I don't know. I believe we had less cars in Duel 1. I don't know how they're going to line that up. We're just going to have a longer outside lane. I'm not sure how that's going to work out, but interesting nonetheless here. You see the leaders catching some lap traffic here. James Bowles got some front end damage. Catching the 54 of Justin Barkley. And these two, all the Toyotas, frankly, got a penalty there coming down pit road. Just overcooked entry. And you see these two, the first penalized cars to pay the price here. I don't know if James was trying to box them in, but his car's just so slow with the front end damage. He couldn't make that maneuver happen. They'll easily get around the 2 Toyotas there, and they'll both go a lap down. After the 23, get back in line. And then when it's time to go, maybe the 54 and the 23 try to race the lead pack, maybe? I'm not sure what you do there if you're those two. Anything, if you want them to race it out here, go jump back and grab the 78 here. These guys aren't that far back, about 4.5 seconds. See if you can, be the man in the middle there and try to get them back up to the front. If you can get those guys to race each other out there, and then at least be a little bit more of an interesting race here. Be a 6-car pack for the lead versus 3. Granted, I don't know if there's a reason to do that because that 3-car back there, 4th to 6th, all Chevrolets. So nothing really to gain there. Next car's on a chopping block is going to be this 4-car pack back here. Wyatt Roberts, Nick Miller, Frank DeAngelis, Chris Van Maastricht. 39 seconds back here. Somehow still losing time to the front pack. And these are probably some of your best pushers, some of your best speedway drivers here. Duel can't make time up there on the race leaders. Obviously, I would say it's a 3v5 because Van Maastricht isn't really up there giving Frank the pushes he needs to push that second car up. But as you see up here, even the 54 is kind of all over the back end of the 22 at some points. Granted, them racing side by side right here will slow them down a little bit, but the 54 and the 23 just can't generate a good enough run. They jump out for a split second there, but then don't have the momentum to make it work at all. See the 54 jump back down single file once again. So we're about, give or take, about halfway through this first fuel run, especially if you're the driver's fourth on back, 11 laps on this stint. About halfway, so we have to come down pit side one more time for the final time here in duel number 2. And this was looking to be a potential, like, a lot more exciting duel race, but unfortunately, mistakes down pit road have kind of halted that. These guys still back here continuing to lose time to the leaders. And what a shame. So it's going to be a third car pack here, probably for the win here. And I don't really know what this 22 can do. I mean, if the 22 jumps out, do you think the Toyotas will go with them? Because the Toyotas don't really have anything to race for here. They're a lap down. We'll see Justin and James peeking out every once in a while here. They get a decent run here, side by side with the 24. They do a good job side drafting, pinching these guys down. Might force the 48 to jump up top and block the run. Momentum on the top side, just not good enough. Good valiant effort, but nothing to be. James Bowles actually gets around at 54. What happened there? There's no way the momentum was that bad that he fell that far back. Still within draft range, but very interesting. James Bowles been a lot more aggressive with the side drafts here. Almost contact with the 22. The issue is that 23, I don't think, can be the leader here. In this situation with all that front end damage, I don't think that's what you want to do. I think James is a little bit better with the side drafts, but that car is just slower when you get that car out in the clean air. I mean, that front end damage just makes that car a parachute. See, as soon as he drops out of line there, he loses a ton of speed there, even with help from the 54. Unfortunately for this, back here, you go back to Chris Van Maastricht. You're only about 4 seconds in front of the leaders here. See if we can see him off the rear back deck lid here of the 38 here. See them coming out at turn 4 right there. We're halfway through the trioval. And you look at the lap times here, 47.5s for this front pack. 46.8s for the leaders here. So, I mean, Frank's not on the back end of that 42 anymore. And when we talked about the fuel saving thing, I don't know if they're trying to do something similar now, even though Frank said he wasn't going to. And we're about 8 to 10 laps away from pit stops here. Very interesting stuff. Still continuing to lose pace to the front pack. Still, Chris Otto, Thomas Flynn. Chris Otto's got to be up there when it comes to lap sled now after this whole cycle. And 19. Back to the 12. 17. So probably the 42 is probably next in line. Lean some laps here. Yeah, three lap sled. So these guys are not making up time at all. And it's funny because, like, I don't really see the front pack. They're not really pushing that hard. 24 hasn't really gotten to the back end of the 48 outside of maybe these back straightaways. Not really pushing that hard. They're still running almost right around a half a second quicker lap. Once again, it's still a big Motorsports front row here. Front row, top two. Gonna be just a couple laps away. I mean, they're getting close enough to where, I mean, yeah, you see the front pack in that four shot there. Those little lap cars. So here comes the 23, James Bowles. James has been a lot more aggressive with these side drafts, separating the 24 and the 48, but I don't think it's gonna be enough to like make a run here. They need a little bit more help. I think James honestly needs to be pushing that 54 of Barkley. If Barkley can side draft the way that James has been, I think they might be able to make a run, but it's kind of flipped right now to where Bowles is a little bit aggressive, but he just doesn't have the car that can lead with that front end damage. He's slower in a straight line. You know, there's probably a little bit of radiator damage to that car. That just makes it not as quick when it's leading the field. Look at this backpack now. It's desperation time. Off the back bumper, Frank DeAngelis. They're coming. They're within the same straightaway now. Like I said, these guys back here running almost 48-second lap times. The guys up front, 47.2s, 46.9 that last time by. I don't know if there's some fuel saving going on in that, you know, in that back there led by Wyatt Roberts. But they're, you know, in the four shot. You'll see them very, very quickly here. They're actually going 2 by 2 there in that second pack now. Frank DeAngelis to the outside. I mean, these front three are still catching them despite the fact that these two Toyotas have been trying to race them, trying to side draft them to try to slow these guys down as much as they can here as we get ready to go underneath. 15 laps to go here in build number 2. Wrecking the 34, the 38. out of the race. Something happened in the 38 here. We'll go back and take a look and see what happened. And nothing else better to do. Wayne DeAngelis. The bad shove to the back of the 38. Van Masher goes around. And he'll call the race there. No caution, surprisingly, there. Followed by iRacing. Chris Otto continues to lead the field here. That stack up, that's really what DeAngelis and cars further on back here in a really tough spot. Oh, here comes everybody down pit road. Leaders will stay out. But Wyatt Roberts on back. Come now pit side here. No black flags this time. A little too late for a lot of these drivers, though, I believe. The splash and go here for the rest of the drivers. Need a 12 to go mark here for the rest of the field. Chris Otto, Thomas Flynn, Timothy Cook. 3 drivers who stay out here. It depends on when do they come down. Now here comes the 3 leaders down pit side. Now if you're Timothy, you can have a good entry here. You can maybe try to split up these guys. I heard someone blow up here down pit side. Chris Otto down in his box. Out they go. 22 will split up the 2 Hendrick machines. This is what I was talking about. It could happen. Chris Otto back out front, but here comes, this second pack here. You're not going to be anywhere close to getting away here. These guys are going to have to work hard. Wyatt Roberts here. Going to have to try to get away here. The Windham, Ohio native. Came on in the scene hot here in the iSNF Cup Series. Won his first race in his first series. In his first season, part-time there in the 21. Obviously got signed full-time to Team Penske. Just like that. I don't know what happened out of pit road. Okay, never mind. So Timothy Cook did have the race lead here. But he is getting the draft from the 2 Toyotas up front here. He can continue to get this draft to work here. He might be able to navigate around these 200 cars. I think he's just going to decide to lift and get back in line. We'll be back up to Chris Otto. Chris Otto continues to lead laps here tonight here from Daytona. Take a look once again at the lap sled. Well over half the lap sled tonight here for this 48 machine. Stepping in for Joey Maines in the 48. Still in that Hendrick camp. Obviously drove the 9 to a chase berth last season and season 11. Looking to put that 48 back in chase contention. Obviously, Joey Maines I think he did actually with the 48 in the chase, but obviously was not competitive in the postseason whatsoever. Chris Otto trying to right the wrong there for the 48. So back to, yeah, honestly, back to the next guy is in line. Get a race for the potential win. Is back here in 4th and 5th. 10 and 88. They're 29 seconds back. So I don't think these guys are going to have a shot unless the front three somehow have a big one or have a catastrophic wreck here. Maybe out of 2. I don't even think if they wreck out of 3 and 4 that they're going to have enough time to get back to the line and before these guys do, right? So this time the race leaders have to sit behind the 2 Toyotas that were pestering them before those 2 green flag pit stops here. They will be approaching some more Toyotas here. Not only that, I believe they'll be approaching 1 Ford here in Wyatt Roberts here, who's leading front pack here. So that 22 will have a teammate. I think they'll get there in time, if you ask me. Gonna be close though. Looking off the back end of the 42, Nick Miller. And they're pretty close. I think they'll get there in 6 laps. On the Toyota on board here, running off the back deck lid here, the 42, Nick Miller, the Legacy Motor Club machine. I mean, they're running 47.2s. Last lap for Nick Miller, 47.8, 47.7 for Wyatt and Frank. And the last lap for the leaders, 47. No, that was a 47.6 versus the 47.7. The gap closed there. I mean, the lap time definitely tightened up there for these laps here, but I think it's just gonna be a matter of time before these 3 get caught by the bigger pack there with Chris Otto and these guys up here. And they're within, I mean, I guess technically this is a battle for position too. The 54 and the 23 will be catching DeAngelis, Miller, and Roberts for a battle. This will be for, 7th on back here. So that's something to think about here. Granted, this isn't for the race for the win, but this will be a race for, tops 20 starting spot here, right? It's going to be interesting to see what happens when they get there, because they are going to get there with 4 to go. I mean, looking back to, Barkley to Miller, I mean, it's about 2.5 seconds now. And they're right there. Granted, that 3-car pack's catching another 2-car pack. That's looks to be Larry Fairman and another driver potentially, maybe Eugene Thorne, who's now a lap down. They're catching that pack, right? So if they get to them in time there, and I think they have gotten into the draft of that, that's going to speed them up, right? The second pack there. So it's going to be a matter of fact of, if you're Justin Barkley, can you guide this little 5-car pack up to the 9th place car of Nick Miller within these next 2 laps? I think the front 3 have decided, right? I think Thomas is okay starting back there in P. Let's see. I guess P6, I believe, right? Wyatt Roberts gets the pull. Got the pull. He's locked in, I guess, technically, on that front row. So I think if I'm looking at Thomas, I think he's okay starting in 6th, right behind his Hendrick teammate. I think he's okay just pushing him to the end here. If you look back to Timothy Cook, I think he'd like maybe gain a spot or two, but I don't think there's a whole lot he can do. He has no help. And you know that a Hendrick car is not going to go with the 22 when there's a Hendrick car in front of them. The teammates are going to work with each other. As we get the white flag for Chris Otto. And I don't think that Justin Barkley is going to get there. That gap has increased by a significant amount, about 4.5 seconds now. Back up to that second pack there of Larry Fairman, Nick Miller, Frank DeAngelis, Wyatt Roberts. And two going to try to make a move here through 3 and 4. Wants the spot. Going to have to do a lot better side drafting there. Going to get back in line there. I think that lost momentum is not going to do anything here. Just like that. Chris Otto across the line. He's going to get duel number 2 here from Daytona. And a cakewalk for that number 48 team. Help from the 24. They'll finish 1-2 here and stay in duel number 2. 22, respectable finish there. P3 for Thomas here in his debut in the 22 machine for Team Penske. But it'll all go back to at number 48. Chris Otto dominates duel number 2. And what a shame, because those Toyotas looked like they had the right combination to get it done tonight here. And they all sped down pit road on that first stop and kind of just derailed their race, but kind of handed it over to the two Hendrick Motorsports guys who have been in these situations before and were just basically, they didn't make a mistake at the end of the day, and that's what gave them the opportunity to come here 1-2. Deal number 2 to the 48, burn it down here for the first time. We'll see Chris Otto burn it down here for the first time in the 48. A better way to put it. Joey Mans has got a couple wins in this machine here in the past. Chris Otto in the grass right now. And continue to burn it down there. You see Cody Meadows, Thomas Flynn in the VC, congratulating his teammate. Thomas Flynn comes home P2. You're defending series champion. What a way to start off season number 12. Coming home champion in season 11. Coming home P2 in the duel here in season 12. Right behind his Hendrick teammate. We'll wait on Chris to get in the waiting room here. We'll talk to your race winner here from duel number 2. Number 48 machine. Like I said, leading well over half the laps tonight here in the second duel after, just basically making a mistake for your race. Then speed down pit road, then get caught in an incident, then get wrecked. Comes home victorious tonight here from Daytona. As we wait on the 48 to get ready for his interview, we'll go ahead and take a look at your unofficial race results tonight from Duel 2. Chris Otto, Thomas Flynn, the 2 Hendrick teammates, come home 1-2 here in Duel 2, alongside Timothy Cook at Penske number 22, his debut for Team Penske. Good run for him. And you look at Terrence Preston, P4, really good run for him, alongside Eric Jorgensen, rounding out your top 5. See back there in P6. Wyatt Roberts, Frank DeAngelis, Larry Fairman, your top 8. James Bowles, Justin Barkley barely finished on the lead lap there. Back there in 9th and 10th. Looking further back here outside the top 10. Eugene Thorne 1 lap down and everybody else out early. Nick Miller, Brian Treadwell, Chris Van Maastricht, Rhea Ferris out early in the 66. But once again, showing up to the duel is going to get you a decent starting spot regardless. Obviously, Rhea right back there. Depending on how the car field fills out there, around 30th there, so back there in the 15th row. So it's not going to be pleasant, but at least she's going to be up towards somewhere, right? So that is your unofficial race results here from duel number 2. See if we can grab Chris Otto. Still has not joined the VC waiting room, so I'm not trying to stall for you guys here. Like to talk to your race winner as well, but it looks like talking to maybe his Hendrick teammate there in the Hendrick Motorsports VC there here in the iSNF Discord. But another congratulations to the 48 team, and a congratulations to Hendrick in general, right? Obviously, we saw Cody come home P5. They were in stage in duel number 1, and obviously Hendrick Motorsports coming home 1-2 in duel number 2 in the second duel tonight here from the World Center of Racing. As we get ready to look forward into the future here for next Saturday, as we get ready to go 500 miles here from Daytona International Speedway for the Daytona 500 here to kick off your season here in season number 12. We get ready to talk to your race winner, Chris Otto, up here in HVTV booth. Hey, Chris, it's Christian up here in HVTV booth. Got a coffee?
Yes, sir. How's it going?
Well, seems pretty good for you. Obviously, coming to the 48 here, obviously taking over for Joey, who is going part time here in the Cup Series now. Um, not a better way to start off, season 12. Obviously, coming home 1-2 with your teammate there, Thomas Flynn, back there in the 24. Obviously, looked like it was going to pan out to be a pretty good, competitive race there, but obviously, a lot of drivers making mistakes tonight, just handing you guys the win. Walk us through race tonight. Walk us through the kind of the chaos of duel number 2.
Yeah, I don't really know what happened with those Toyotas when they came down pit road. I feel like they probably sped. But it just kind of took me and Thomas by surprise when they were still on pit road and we came back and around and lapped them before we pitted. But no, me and Thomas, we worked really good. We did some practice of drafting together. We actually figured something out in the draft that I'm not so sure a lot of people know, so I'm not going to disclose that secret. But yeah, I mean, with 3 cars or 5 cars, we were running everybody down. It seemed like the pack of those Toyotas, we were able to just consistently be faster lap after lap. I mean, we came out of pits that first time and we were 11 seconds down, and then they pitted and we were 3 seconds behind them. So me and Thomas got something figured out. We're going to share that with our teammates and hopefully be able to just control this Daytona 500 coming up next week and have a good result. I love me some super speedway racing. I have not had good luck in iSNF when it comes to super speedway racing. I'm always up front at the end, and then I'm always wrecked before I get to the line. So hopefully that luck turns around, and we'll go out and win this one next week.
And walk us through the dynamics of the kind of the teammate stuff. Obviously, it's always a teammate game here when it comes to racing, but especially on these super speedways, you worked really well with the 24. Obviously, you bring on Cody Meadows there in the 9, who is shown to be a team player everywhere he goes. Obviously, you still have Steven coming back here, who's always been really good at with these super speedways. What's kind of the game plan for you and all of Hendrick coming into this big crown jewel event next week?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think we all just want to be there at the end of the race. So that's just going to be the hardest thing to do. Um, and if we're all there, great. If a few of us are there, I mean that's fine too. We just want to have a shot to win the race. We're going to do what we can to work together, and like I said, if we can control this race, that would be ideal. It's really hard to control super speedways, but we're gonna go out there. Me and Thomas share some details of what we learned, and we're just gonna see if we can't do what we just did here in this duel and just completely dominate.
Well, if you guys do even half of what you did tonight there, I think you guys will have a good shot at going for, a Daytona 500 championship there for Team Hendrick. But, Chris, another congratulations here. First, I believe your first time in the 48, you come home in victory lane there. So hopefully you can build that momentum into the big boy event next week. But before we let you go, anybody you want to thank, appreciate shout out for tonight's win here in duel number 2.
Yeah, I'm just happy to get my boy Alex Bowen back in victory lane. It's been a rough stretch for him. No, just want to thank you for the broadcast and all you do. Want to thank Tier One Setup Shop for being a partner of mine. Redline Racing, also they're a partner of mine. Just want to thank all those guys over at both of those places. Matt Matler, especially, he's such a good guy. And then just everybody here at ISNF. I mean, clean racing for the most part here in this duel, so that was really good to see. Hated that almost everybody was a lap down by the end of it, but I'll take a stress-free win and go on from there.
Well, we definitely appreciate the kind words up in the booth and appreciate your time up here talking to us after your win tonight. But we'll let you get down, continue to talk to your teammate there in Thomas, get ready for next week, and we look forward to seeing what you and this 48 team can do in the big boy event next week, this next Saturday.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it.
Chris Otto comes home victorious here from Daytona in duel number 2. So it's going to be a Toyota. Actually, yes, a Toyota forward front row, as I believe Sartaj won the duel, won the pole in duel number 1. And obviously, we saw the 12 of Wyatt Roberts. He got the pole here, which would lock him into the front row. And you'll see there. That's going to be interesting because obviously the pole sitter got the win. So I guess P2 in that finish would get second instead of, the winner of the duel. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works out for the bottom row. But obviously, Chris Otto and his teammate Thomas Flynn will start in row 2 and 3 next week going into Daytona 500 to start your official season. Excuse me. In season 12. But another congratulations to the whole 48 team. All of really Hendrick had a really good, if you want to call it, speed weeks here in the duels. If I'm here over in Central Kansas here in the HVTV studios, I think it's called the Call of Night. Time to call it night here from the virtual Daytona International Speedway here for the iSNF Cup Series as we approach the start of season 12 here. Once again, from the World Center of Racing. Once again, my name is Christian Delgado, your lead producer and commentator. We appreciate everybody for coming out, watching tonight's broadcast. Frank and Maria for coming in and stopping in the chat, informing some of our live chat, why we do the things we do here for iSNF. But once again, if you wouldn't mind sharing the broadcast with friends and family, sharing it with anybody, put in the Discord server, just showing it in general, trying to get this network going and as big as we can, that'd be very much appreciated. But once again, from everybody over here, we appreciate all the time and the love and support, and can't wait to be here next week here to call the Daytona 500 for the iSNF Cup Series. Be on the lookout, as next Friday we'll be going back to Daytona for the ARC iRacing Pro Series as they start their week 1 from Daytona as well. So be on the lookout for that for those O'Reilly Bashids. Really excited to see. So we'll have Matthew Prochatsky back up in the HVTV booth alongside myself there for the ARC season. And then obviously back here next Saturday, we'll be going 500 miles here for the Daytona 500 to start off the season of 12. Well, once again, my name is Christian Delgado, and you've been watching High Velocity TV production of the iSNF Cup Series. Hope to see you soon. Have a great rest of the night.